In my first job out of college, I worked in a cubicle. I was in bank operations, and there was somebody on my floor who found a way to de-stress. In this video, I'm going to talk about how to de-stress at work and what are some tips, tools, and tactics that you can use when you feel that stress rising up when you are at work. Hey, this is Kathy Perry, corporate energy expert. And in my very first role out of college, I worked for a big regional bank in their operations department, and there were a bunch of us in cubicles on one particular floor. And really, almost every week, there was one person who often took a nap. Yep, a nap in the cubicle. And she gave herself away because she did start to snore once in a while, and we'd peek around, and there she was. Now, I know that's not usually something that we can do at work, nor should we, because we have a role to play. And I know that especially in senior living and caregiving, there's a physicality to our work. We can be stressed from family situations, resident situations, team situations. There can be some incivility or conflict. There can be a lack of contribution on teams. There's so many things that can cause stress during your day. But what can you do to de-escalate that when you feel it coming on? You know, it might feel like anger. You might feel yourself clenching up. You might just go silent and want to be away from everyone. And not all of those are healthy or the things that you can necessarily be doing. And actually, even worse than when it's at work is you take it home with you from work. And then it comes out on your family or your spouse or, the person who's driving in front of you, and you start yelling and screaming. We've become a culture that carries this stress around with us. So what can you do while you are at work to help reduce that stress? First of all, acknowledge it. Start to recognize what stress looks like and feels like to you. I actually do this thing, which it took me a while to recognize it, but I clench more. Like I'll feel like my hands clenched up, or I'll scooch over in my desk like this. And I'm like, I must be stressed right now. I can feel it. And secondly, after you've acknowledged it, the very first thing you should be doing is breathing. Just breathe for a few minutes, because that sends a signal to your body that the stressful situation is passing. And it's okay just to take a couple deep breaths. You can do that, while walking the hallway, while sitting at your desk. So acknowledge, breathe, and then look for those triggers. Why were you stressed? Why were you in a stressful situation? Was there information that you didn't need? Was it a person? Was it a situation? And then when that comes back around, think, well, how could I be reacting to it differently? What could I be doing so I don't feel that stress level rising when that situation, person, event happens again? Besides just breathing, come up with a list of things that also help you de-stress while you're at work. Is it diffusing essential oils? There's a number of those that have been shown to decrease the stress hormone. Is it strictly closing your eyes and meditating for 30 seconds? Is it installing an app on your phone that reminds you to do this? There are several of those out there will remind you to take 30 seconds to de-stress. I one time was using one of the apps and an alert went off and it just said, take 10 seconds to think of something that makes you happy. That all of a sudden decreases the stress. I think dog videos and cat videos can do the same. So maybe you have a few of those in your playlist that can just take a few minutes. And then finally, stick to a plan. Recognize the stress is there, but have a plan for it. Because the last thing you want to have happen is have that stress boil up to the point where you take it out on a team member or a resident or a family member or on your way home. So really recognize that stress exists. You say about 49% of all people in senior living experience stress on a daily basis. So that's half of us are expressing some form of stress. And I bet on each additional day, it might be the other half, because what we do in serving others can be stressful. So this is Kathy Perry, corporate energy expert. Please follow along, subscribe. I have lots of great tips, tools, and tactics that you can use for you personally, for your teams, or your organization. Thanks so much for watching.